Yo, YouTube. It's been a while. I haven't made a podcast in a long time. I don't really have, I do have an explanation on why I've been gone for a while. But I just wanted to make a video. I've been having people ask me to redo or continue on with the podcast. Of course, it's been a year since I've actually done one. So I'm going to try to see if I can get back on it. I just got to find a quiet time to do so. But this is going to be uploaded on YouTube. But yeah, I was doing a podcast for a while where I was kind of touching on some issues. Now, of course, there's a lot going on in the world right now. As you can see, a lot of shit shows. A lot of false prophets starting to show their face, you know. A lot of narratives and agendas and all kinds of stuff going on in the world, which I would love to try to cover eventually with a YouTube videos. But, I just got to find the time. What I might end up doing, if you can hear anything in the background, that's my air conditioning. Sorry about the background noise. But I just had to find time to do it, and just today is the day where I decided, let me upload a video. I've got noisy ass neighbors. I just moved. Well, I didn't just move, but just over a year ago I moved into a new apartment. So the place that I was living just wasn't a perfect spot to be doing no podcast. So I'll probably try to get back on YouTube. The thing about podcasts is everybody's doing a podcast. So sometimes it's good to just fall back and not do, let's say that you started one. Sometimes it's good to fall back and just not do anything. Because there's only so much that you could talk about that someone else has already talked about 1,000 times. The whole idea of a podcast, really the people that do podcasts today, man, they just do a lot of regurgitating. There's a few people that I follow that I like. But the whole point of a podcast, at least I would hope, would be to, deliver a message that's your own style. It seems like everybody is trying to do the same thing. And of course, I'm walking around while talking. It might seem nauseating with the camera, but, just back to the whole podcast thing. Sometimes it's not always good, it's not always good to do 4, 5, 6 episodes every day, every week. Sometimes you got to fall back. Sometimes you got to take some time, allow some things to happen, and then, give it a period of time for those certain events that have transpired to pass, and then you cover them from your perspective. That's really what it's about. So, but yeah, my plan on returning to YouTube, it's going to be based on when I have time. What I'm thinking is I might do the podcast when I go on vacation. Because I like to get the hell out of town sometimes and go on vacation. And, when I do go on vacation, I'll go to a hotel that's very quiet. And that probably will be the best time to do a podcast. Because I'll be in an element where it's quiet and there's not so much background noise. And plus I'm using my phone. So, but this is just kind of a short video. I've been wanting to do a podcast again for a while. But just some things transpired in life to where it's like you got to just fall back. So, but yeah, man, the one thing that I just saw in the news just to pass some time is that Donald Trump thing, and I just, it's just so amazing to me when it comes to politics, how many people are just so fooled when it comes to this society and what these parties are really about. People will jump on, they'll call themselves a quote-unquote Democrat, they'll call themselves a quote-unquote Republican, and it's just like, man, these people really just don't understand this society very well, that both parties are trying to go to the same fountain, they're just taking a different path, and it's just like this world has just become one big stage to where people don't even really understand what's really going on. For example, you got people who are Trump supporters who call themselves quote-unquote Christians. They'll even go as far as to identify Donald Trump as a Christian. And this is for anybody that does watch this video and they see it on YouTube. No politician that is in front of your face is what is a good person per se. All right, all these politicians that you guys put your faith in, if you call yourself a quote unquote believer in Christ, you really should understand that the people that are in the mainstream, they don't venerate Christ. All right, they venerate Satan. All right, and it doesn't matter how good they sound or how righteous they try to act. At the end of the day, they're all the same. So if you don't know that by now, then you're not very bright. All right, you shouldn't be putting your faith in Donald Trump or putting your faith in Joe Biden. If you call yourself a believer in Christ, you should be putting your faith in Christ, period. All right, you could vote for a Donald Trump or a Joe Biden based on whatever agenda you feel you're best trying to conquer from a business perspective. That's how you should look at it. It shouldn't be about you're voting for him for something that's very whimsical. All right, because you got to understand at the end of the day, you know, these presidents, they're puppets. They're under control. It don't matter what side they're on. They're told what to do. They're bought and paid for. It doesn't matter what their name is. You know, but when it comes to a president, all a president is a servant, you know, and all a president really is someone that's told what to do. You have certain people behind the curtains that are pulling the strings and telling these people what to do. So that's something that you're supposed to know if you call yourself a spiritual person from a righteous perspective. But some people are just not smart enough to know that, or at least, you know, they're not really delving anything. Just because you open a Bible up doesn't mean you know the Bible. All right, and I'm not going to get all deep into that into this video. That's a video for another day. But it just amazes me how many people are so, you know, they're so foolish. Because that whole shooting thing with Donald Trump, it looked very contrived to me. It looked like it was an attempt to make Donald Trump look more like a patriotic figure. You know, of course, there's this big war where there's this left versus right and right versus left and, you know, good versus bad, you know, and it's really just two evils fighting each other, you know, but one has to play the quote unquote proverbial patriot good guy. All right, and there is no such thing. So, you know, but the main reason why I can't make a podcast is because I got some degenerate ass neighbors. You know, I've been dealing with a major neighbor problem. This is the second bitch ass neighbor they done moved upstairs. That really isn't a good neighbor. So, you know, that's why these podcasts, if I start doing them, it's going to be when I'm as far away from this area as possible, or if I can ever get a quiet day in here. It just so happens, you know, this is about as quiet as it's going to get at midnight. So, but, you know, I just don't want stomping and people dropping shit on my ceiling in the middle of a video when I'm trying to make a point. It's going to distract me quite a bit. You know, I'm a very noise conscious kind of guy. And unfortunately, I can never seem to find a place that seems to be quiet enough to be able to, you know, actually, you know, do what my gift is, which is really to talk. You know, so unfortunately, I end up having to just say, fuck it, forget it. But yeah, you know, I wanted to just make a video that I was going to post on YouTube. You know, I kind of just covered the Donald Trump angle. This video kind of went better than I expected it to go. But yeah, just from a political standpoint, really just from any standpoint, you know, people need to stop being such sheep. You know, I got friends who are so, they're all the way to the left, you know, they're all the way to the right. And it's like, you not realize that you're kind of look like a pawn and you don't even know it. All right. You know, a lot of people don't even know why they believe in something, or the tote of why they believe in something, or excuse me, not tote, but the tote in, why do I keep saying the word tote? They don't know where it came from. They just believe in it because it feels good. Now, you got to be careful of believing in something just because it feels good. All right. You know, particularly in ideology. All right, because real truth doesn't always feel good. Real truth actually is there to correct you. And most people don't want to be corrected. People want to escape responsibility. You know, they don't want to. They don't want to do, you know, the proper work. Or a lot of people have a lot of stuff. They're invested in that particular ideology so much to the point to where it's like, hey, even if that ideology is off, they end up so invested in it that they can't change because their life depends on it. If they change it, then it's going to require them to change their whole life. So don't get that. Don't become that person. Anyways, I got to get off of here because I got a bitch-ass neighbor upstairs. And like I said, I can't stand these fuckers that they moved in here. So excuse my language. I just can't. I don't understand this property manager here. She's failed me twice. So I'll be doing more podcasts in the future. Probably sometime in August. If I get time, I'll probably do one when I'm in my hotel and I don't got to hear a whole bunch of noise. Because I get distracted real easily, if from outside noise. So that's part of the reason why I decided not to, just to lay back and not do podcast. But yeah, I'm a little rusty when it comes to talking. It's going to take some time. I'll probably try to come up with a subject to talk about. But yeah, when I'm getting back to that whole point with the whole Donald Trump thing, man, it's just amazing. I'm sitting here watching the news and it just inspired me to make a video. It's just quite amazing how these politicians can pull off certain things and get people to sway a certain way, to the point to where it's like they're casting a spell on people now. And people don't realize that there's a spell casted on them, or that they're under mind control, They don't realize that. So I just noticed that I've just seen a lot of people just easily be fooled, They really don't look into things, or they really just, I don't know. I really don't get it anymore, And, it's created a lot of depression. It's created a lot of distrust amongst people. Obviously, there's a big war going on when it comes to the minds of people, because the powers that be are trying to get people to pick a side. That's kind of fulfilling prophecy if you're into the scriptures. So, that's really all I got to say. I'm about to post this video on YouTube. But yeah, just stay vigilant. Try not to be a person that goes all the way to the left, but, the left is not necessarily great, but, you don't want to go all the way to the right either, because either way, you're going to end up going to the same fountain either way. That's just the way it is, because both parties are battling, or at least try to make it seem like they're battling, but really all they are is trying to conquer the same agenda, just a different way. And like I said, just watching that on TV just inspired me to make this video. So I don't know how many will actually listen or watch. I'll probably post it on Facebook, but hey, just stay vigilant. Don't fall for the shenanigans. And a lot of times, another thing is, I know I said I was going to get off of here, but people that listen to this video, they may call me a conspiracy theorist, or say, Lance, this isn't about religion or any of that stuff. Well, it is. It's not a religion. All right, because religion is man-made. The Bible is a law, prophecy, and history book. Like I said, that's a video for another day. I'm not going to break it down because a lot of my friends don't really know the Bible. They don't know what it's really about. They associate the Bible with the church, and that's part of their problem. See, the church and the Bible is two different things. All right, the church, they don't totally follow the Bible the way they're supposed to. All right, but that's a video for another day. That's just too much to explain in it. That's the type of video that's going to take some serious time to explain, and it's not going to be a video for people that are closed-minded or don't get it, understand something. The Bible's not for everybody. But this particular video is not a Bible video. It's just addressing why I've been gone, but most importantly, just my thoughts on what I just saw on TV. It's just quite amazing to me how people now are on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. God bless Trump, and it's just, based on the stuff that I already know, it's just hilarious to me that people just don't get it. They don't seem to see the pattern of things, is that this world is a stage, and you could just tell just based on how things are moving, like in, that particular situation, Donald Trump, his ear was bleeding, but I just didn't see no bullet wound. And, you know, people that listen to this, they might laugh and think it's funny, but if you get shot in the ear, that's almost equivalent of being shot in the head. And just the way the wound looked, it just didn't look. It didn't look. It's just something rotten in Denmark with that thing. So maybe I'll cover it in the next podcast, maybe, you know, somewhere down the line. But this is just a video that I wanted to make just so I could put it on YouTube and say I did something. So anyways, all right, I'm out of here.